Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fluxtacuck podcast. So today we're joined by Autism.
What's cooking, B?
We're also joined by Mac Valent.
Hi, my name is Megan Trailer.
And we also have Sonny.
Sure.
And Kronos.
What's up?
Kronos, you can just take it away and talk about your podcast and everything else that you want to cover before we get into the topics.
Alright, guys, I'm Kronos. I'm also known as Jeff on the NotJohn Podcast. It's just, NotJohn Podcast has been going on for six weeks now, I believe. Just a bunch of dudes, a bunch of friends of mine. We just sit around, sit in a Discord and just talk. Whatever comes to mind, we get to. We do that every week. Every weekend, usually Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Depends on, work schedules and all that. I'm also the founder and co-owner of a gaming organization whose name keeps changing because everything's trademarked in the business. But once if you listen to the NotJohn podcast, even if you listen to the Fluxtacuck and you just go right to the NotJohn, one of the episodes will have the official permanent name of the organization, and y'all can check us out there on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, anywhere you find us. We're just a gaming clan. Any game you want to play, whether it be League of Legends, Counter-Strike, Minecraft, we don't care. You just pop in, say hi, make some friends, come play games, and then eventually, if all things go to plan, we want to move our way into becoming a professional esports organization. That's all I got, so you can have the reins back, my guy.
Awesome. So yeah, links in the description will be to his SoundCloud. I'll have his Discords in the link in the description too. So feel free to go down there and join those and get to know everyone else in the Discord.
Also, youtube.com/CasualAutism.
No, get out of here.
Just sneaks in the plug.
So, the first topic I wanted to cover, because it's been going on recently with controversial stuff, is the Shane Dawson, Jake Paul documentary. Sick. So, basically, to cover the base story of that is Shane Dawson started the series on a he started the series about Jake Paul trying to figure out if he was a sociopath. And it's still an ongoing thing, but in episode 2, he was very dramatic with it, and he was getting a lot of backlash with it. And I wrote a whole note to cover the whole of the first episode for those who wanted to know. But basically, I just wanted to cover and get you guys' opinions if you think dramaticizing depression or mental illnesses, do you think that's okay to be putting on YouTube if it's for documentaries? Because on Netflix you can make these, they publish these documentaries where it's very dramatic and it's clearly...
They made something to do with dear white people.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, it was controversial.
As long as, the thing about mental health, as long as I treat it respectfully and, then make sure you're aware that it's not just this thing to be brushed over and that it's actually serious, then I think it's okay to a certain extent.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, with the Shane Dawson thing, I'm loving it. I saw, I've seen everyone that's come out so far, I believe, in the time that I've had, and yeah, he dramatizes it, but at the same time, he does it to a point to get the point across.
And he adds the comedic effect.
If he just sat down at a desk, looked at a camera, and said, "Yeah, this is what he's doing," and just kind of made a video essay, no one's gonna listen. Shane Dawson's been on the platform since 2010. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, very early.
Oh no, 2009, I think.
I don't like Shane Dawson.
Yeah.
He's a fag.
Right,
so, well,
wow.
he knows what he's doing. He knows how to grab an audience. From his old stuff, it was just if he wasn't a bombastic, dude that made silly jokes and all of this, nobody would watch his shit. Like I watch the Philip DeFranco show on YouTube as well. And if it was just that, I can't watch the news, right? I can't sit down in my living room and watch the news because it's too boring. The people there, they don't grab my attention. But Philip DeFranco, his voice, the way he does things, the flow of all of it, it captures you, which is what I think Shane Dawson was trying to go for here, right? But because it's talking about Jake Paul, one of the biggest creators on the platform right now, in his fanboyish base, most of the backlash is coming back from the Jake Paulers because they feel attacked, which is fucking retarded because Jake Paul sucks.
He is a dick. I mean, something that a lot of people forget is a while ago. Do you guys remember that shitty ass diss track he made, where he said it was a diss track, but then the first thing he says in it is, "This isn't a diss track."
Oh, that yes.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
When it came out, it was like so
lot of
controversial and shit
something a
too.
lot of people forget about Jake Paul, which I think is one of the most serious things, is he made a video where he met this fan of his who's dying from
Oh,
Yes,
the
And
Make-A-Wish, and then he used it.
Yeah, the next day he takes advantage of this child dying from cancer to make him seem like a good guy, which to me is evil. It's despicable. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Like
Which
the
is
thing,
exactly
like the
what-
thing is, he also claimed to do a lot of things like that I don't think he would have actually done. Like there was something at one point to do with like being in the kitchen making food or something on Thanksgiving.
He that song was just so because you can't
And
shitty
he also
fan emotionally manipulate your child fan base, who is mostly preteens, to make it seem like you're a nice guy by saying this shit.
it's yeah, because he also had a thing to do with like emails and depression shit as well.
Yeah, that's right. He was like, oh yeah, like depressed fans
he was-
emailing him.
Yeah.
He was trying to make himself out to be the victim, but he wasn't.
Well, yeah, but that was what the whole song was about. It was like, hey, the news is always telling you these bad things I do, but then whenever I do something good, no one talks about it. But that's because that's just what news is. No one cares about the good things unless it's heavily people are going to give a crap.
Yeah,
But
that's
to
the
be
thing.
honest, right?
He's smart like that because he knows that if he pumps his shit out, his fan base is just gonna adore him and forgive him just by punching out this cookie cutter shit. Like, which he's
It's actually not too bad of an idea, like for what position he was in at the time, to his fan base. Like if you go from purely from his perspective, right? Like if he was just going for the money, like yeah, that's pretty much all he would be doing. Like just making that kind of content that like panders to them.
Well, yeah, it was like, if you watch the Shane Dawson documentary, at one point he goes more in depth of before Jake Paul was like more famous, and he had just hopped onto Vine. He actually vlogged back then, and if you watch the vlogs back then, it's way different and it's super weird because he's sitting in a car and he's talking about, he's like, oh yeah, I'm nervous, and he's very real. And then all of a sudden when Team 10 starts up, it all changes up. He becomes a lot like his brother, and he starts adding this controversial things into the videos, being loud and obnoxious, and it just stacked up. And that's kind of...
His brother's the fucking worst.
Oh yeah,
He went from
but
okay to retarded.
that's the thing. It's the whole family around him is influencing him to be this person.
Yeah, you can tell where him and his brother gets it from. Is their dad is a
Yeah.
Wasn't their dad like? Wasn't their dad like abusive or something?
Yeah, he's
like,
abusive. He's... I mean, don't take this as a true fact 100%, but I'm pretty sure he's like into younger girls.
Oh,
There's
did
a lot
you
of
see
proof.
that video where him and Jake and Team 10 were doing that kissing?
Oh yeah,
likes the
he's
thought.
famous for that, but no, I'm
young
talking
girl,
about
that
new
young
stuff,
girl
like
who wasn't even 20. I
new
think.
information that's been found because he got his email hacked and a few different things hacked, and the hackers have found a lot of stuff that is completely controversial that I can't talk about on the podcast because this is way too OTT.
Yeah.
But
Like,
Yeah.
hacking is bad, but when it's like that kind of hacking, like when
No.
it's just looking for information.
When it's Greg Paul, it's okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
people do it for fun. I
Kinda
mean,
what
I
I
don't
mean.
really see the point in, like, you can hack, I don't really care. But as long as, like, because there's people, like, if I got my YouTube channel hacked and then someone deleted the channel, it's like, oh, that's nice, thanks. But, like, if your YouTube channel got hacked and then you get it back, it's like, they had their fun.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just maybe like an experiment or something. Maybe the person's like just learning how to hack, and that's the kind of way of doing it. Now, one thing to cover on Greg Paul, like he made like this Instagram video, I think it was. So it was just asking the hacker to work for
Yes.
him.
Yeah, I saw that on
It was
Twitter.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
He's just like, I
real.
saw you work. He's like, I learned a lot. Like you could apply that to so many things.
Yeah, and the thing of Greg
I
Paul,
learned a lot.
the thing
What
of
did you
Greg,
learn?
yeah, and the thing of Greg Paul, he isn't really taking it that seriously because like this video, he's so optimistic and positive in it. Like he starts it off, he's like, "Hey guys, GP here, back
Yeah.
with another video."
So cringe, but
He's like just going for his audience, which is obviously like little kids and
He's
preteens.
going-
well, yeah,
They're going for. They're all targeting the same audience, and it works because they have the same last name. You know,
Yeah,
a lot
and
of the Jake Paul guys are Logan Paul guys. A lot of the Logan Paul guys are Jake Paul guys.
yeah.
And
it's
it's
all
just
the same.
it's a circle.
Remember
they're-
the bullshit diss tracks on each other?
Oh my god, they were so dumb.
And-
That was so much.
another thing.
They were like, they were
Yeah,
literally.
like-
It was
retarded.
just as fake as the Sidemen kind of drama
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that God,
when KSI came back. Yeah,
It's like kind of stupid because they're like, oh yeah, I hate you so much, and then they were in YouTube rewind together and they all made up. It's kind of like, really.
yeah,
well,
fucking
yeah, because it's an act. But
shit
like,
together.
there is more. If you search more in depth behind it, there is a slight drama between Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Is because Logan Paul had sex with Jake Paul's ex.
Oh, yeah.
Soon after they broke up and made videos with her and stuff. So that was like the thing that was like, bro, how could you do that? You could go behind my back and use someone who clearly, you know, did something bad in my life, which, I mean, I don't...
But here's what makes
who
it.
was what?
The thing that makes it is they record this shit and they put it on the internet, and
It blows up.
It blows up.
Yeah.
Mm.
And,
To
and
these
It gets
12,
attention.
13, 14-year-old kids who now like are still impressionable. You know, they're still kids.
yeah,
Sonny, your mic is echoing again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just go to your computer sound and then turn it down, and that always works.
Yes.
Yeet. But like it's it blows up, and these 12, 13, 14-year-old kids end up thinking, oh, this is the right way to think. This is the right thing to do, you know?
It's toxic behavior, basically.
Exactly.
Does anyone remember when Jake Paul uploaded a video and he just had this really like weird thumbnail where it was like him and his girlfriend like half naked and shit?
Oh, I lost
Oh!
my virginity.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he's done a few. He's done one where it's like, this
Yeah.
video's sexual, don't watch it or
Like
something.
one of them was called like I lost my virginity or something. It was weird.
It was the video where he went on like some holiday with her to some snow place. I don't remember.
And another thing is whenever the Pauls do this shit, like that they get criticized for and stuff, is whenever they make apology videos where they seem genuine, kids just eat it up and think it's real. But the thing is, these guys, they're actors, like they're mentally trained to be able to do this kind of thing and make it seem real. Is the thing.
They both
So,
had
'cause
they're
acting
both-
They have the
experience.
knowledge of how
family-
to manipulate people and how to act.
Their whole family are just garbage people who manipulate young people for views and money. Like this Logan Paul KSI fight, bro. It didn't matter who won.
They made money.
I guarantee you, they're friends behind closed doors. They're best friends behind closed doors, and they're just counting Benjamins back there
Yeah.
after the fight,
Oh yeah.
putting ice packs on each other's faces. Guaranteed.
You know, it's
Like there ain't
entertaining
no
thing.
beef with them.
What's funny is, if you watch Sidemen videos, the Sidemen take the piss out of KSI, like, for the same thing. They're like, oh, you know, just like the awesome, the fight, you know, it's what do you call it? Not a duel. What's it called when two people win? Like there's no actual winner.
A draw.
Draw.
a
That's
draw.
right. I forgot the
Tie
word.
or a tie.
Yeah, a tie. That's right. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, no, it's funny how that's a thing.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Do you remember? I think in the last week this happened. Do you know what BetterHelp is? You know, it's been advertised on
yeah,
YouTube
I know.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
Philip DeFranco was advertising it a lot recently. I'm pretty sure, and then he's
yeah.
been spreading awareness of it and getting other people to advertise it because apparently he's making money off getting other people to make
apparently they're
get
making,
sponsored or.
but it was coming out that these YouTubers were making $100 per person who joins. What?
No, I just saw something.
And
Hey, alright.
I'll put it in. I'll put it in link.
but Boogie 2988, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
there's other people advertising it. He tweeted out saying that he was actually making $200 per person who joins,
Hmm.
and that's like what 300 New Zealand roughly, which is
I
fucking
think.
crazy.
Probably
think of
250 maybe.
Oh, excuse me. Think of it.
Yeah, just something about something about profiting hundreds of dollars off your fucking depressed, mentally unstable
Here-
fans.
Here's the thing about this though. Okay,
Yeah,
like I live in America. You know, healthcare isn't free here,
yeah.
like it is literally everywhere else, right? So to you, that's you know, why are people profiting off of other people's mental health? But that service, BetterHelp, is actually cheaper in the United States than a lot of
Counseling.
outpatient counseling.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
actually a lot cheaper.
Well, yeah, but
Because like if you don't have healthcare here, you know, you can't go to a psychiatrist and get help. You know? So I personally I love BetterHelp, and they're doing some a lot of people think this is sketch, but at the same time, they're a private business that's looking to help people.
Yeah.
Mm.
Alright.
You know?
Oh,
Cam
like-
just left during like the fucking podcast. He's like, I have to go see you boys.
Alright, that's fine. He was being quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a company that wants to help people, you know, and it's basically like me for if you were to get Twitter branding and a logo done, right, and you're not an artistic person, right, you're gonna pay someone to help you brand your channel and build your channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way here. BetterHelp is paying content creators to encourage people who really can't afford to get the help they need to get affordable help they need.
Mm.
And
Okay.
they're compensating the people that do that, you know? So yeah, so what if Boogie 2988 and Philip DeFranco are getting $100-$200 per people that joined? These people that are going there are also being exposed to affordable help for whatever they have, you know, whether it be depression, anxiety, adjustment disorder, anything, because they might not be able to go to a licensed, you know, a like fully licensed psychiatrist and like this fancy fucking office or some shit, because they can't afford it, at least in the United States. You know, in New Zealand, you know, you still might not have access, you know, the psychiatrist might be like too busy to fit your schedule, you know?
I'm pretty sure in New Zealand we have. It's pretty cheap. I don't know if it's free or it's free for younger kids or something, but it's not even that
It's free for
expensive.
people like under like the age of like 13, I think it is, or under the age of 15.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
The only thing we don't have in New Zealand is a lot of mental health. Like we have what do you call them? At school you have counselors,
Counsellors,
but they're
yeah.
known to be pretty trash.
Yeah, the United States has guidance counselors in high school, which do exactly what they're supposed to do, guide you in the right path. But I mean, the thing is with America is like a lot of other countries don't have such a high mental health rate, you know, not a lot of depressed people, not a lot of anxious people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because to be honest, and because like this isn't just me being a biased American, the standard of living is lower in a lot of countries other than, you know, the developed ones. Like, you might have, you like, don't get me wrong, you guys might be set, you know, New Zealand's a beautiful country and it's all set and it's developed, you know? But
I'm not
here,
enjoying my life.
here, in America at least, the standard of living is really fucking high. And because we have states, it differs, you know? So the top 2 states for taxes and standard of living is California and New York State. They're the 2 most expensive, you know? Like, I just got paid today from my job. I made, before taxes, $843, which is like, oh, so good, right? Take $150 out of that in taxes, and that's what I got back. Like,
Damn.
it's crazy. That's the United States. That's just state taxes. That was before Fed, but Fed's a lot lower, you know? So I pulled away with $675 in my paycheck for working 2 full weeks.
Yeah.
But the reason why it's so high here is because the standard of living is so high. Citizens here are working 2-3 jobs, not just to push themselves above the line, but to stay on the line. Or even then, they're still below the line, you know? Like, I have, one of my coworkers has a wife and a kid, and he's working 2 jobs, and he can barely make ends meet when his wife also works 2 jobs for an apartment and his kid. You know, he can barely afford utilities, his car insurance, his phone bill, groceries, you know, the whole 9. He can barely afford it all. And that's the screwy thing with America, you know? It's just one of those things where, like, this country is fucked. I love this country. I think it's the best country in the world, but it's fucked up because it's generation against generation over here. You have the old baby boomers, right? Like, my grandparents are bashing my generation because we're not getting married and we're not having kids, right? But there's a reason for that. I don't want to commit myself to someone and then have a child with them when I can't even take care of myself.
Yeah.
Like, if I cannot afford to pay for my own car, my own bills, and my own home, and be independent on my own, why would I want to be with someone else and put them in that same situation? You know, where, like, it happened with my mom. My mom had me when she was 19, and I was turning 17, 18 when they officially got out of credit card debt. You know, it took her 18 years to get out of credit card debt in this country.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. Like, I am $5,000 in debt with my college. $7,000 if you count my student loans. Like, I'm gonna be paying that off for a very long time. So, like, I'm already struggling paying my phone bill and my health insurance. Like, what do you imagine is gonna happen when, you know, I go away and I get my own car, because I'm getting a car soon. I want to move out soon. I gotta start paying more for health insurance because I'm only paying my part on my parents' plan. So now I'm paying for my own full plan. Like, this country, a lot of people don't realize, like, this country has a lot of pride, and this country's really great. It's a great country, don't get me wrong. The economy is booming, but it's just a majority of the people are struggling, you know? It's like, yeah, we're not the happiest country in the world. It's because our country is basically going through a new industrial revolution, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, we all know the industrial revolution.
And the 99% below is kind of, like, amplified.
Like the president of the United States has been gloating about, you know, GDP growth, which is great. Yeah, the GDP has been growing in this country. I haven't gotten a pay raise. I haven't gotten better benefits through my job, but my boss did. Like, they don't, a lot of people don't realize that we are the richest country in the world, but hundreds of millions of us are below the poverty line. Struggling. We're struggling. Like, for a majority of my life, I was technically below the poverty line. I had a roof over my head, clothes on my back, and food on my table, but we were below the poverty line. You know, it's like that. It's weird the way that the statistics work, because a lot of us are poor as shit because we're not making enough. Because the minimum wage isn't that high. It's really low. Federal minimum wage in the United States is $7.40.
Oh my goodness.
That's federal minimum wage.
Hell.
In New Zealand,
you go
our
with-
one's like 17.
Yeah, I
Put
think,
that into American
17
dollars. That's
and
like $14.
19 is like.
yeah, over here, like, I just turned 15, and my minimum wage is like, I think $10.
New York
I'm gonna look
State's
up what the
minimum
minimum
wage.
But I
New
guess
York State minimum wage is $10.40, and it's going up. The movement to get $15 an hour minimum wage is working, you know, because a lot of big companies are realizing, shit, if my employee gets kicked out of his house because he can't afford it, the guy can't really come to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I don't know. It's to me that that people are putting money before human lives.
yeah.
Like big businesses like Amazon. I hate Amazon.
I
With
don't
burning
know.
passion. I hate the companies that say they give a shit but don't give a shit.
Like they don't
okay.
do much to really actually help.
Exactly, like Amazon.
Mm.
Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world right now.
Mm.
And there's a reason. He overworks his employees. He makes them, like, there are tons of stories coming out of people who work in the warehouses, the shipping warehouses. They barely get a break, right? They get a 30-minute break, but the break room is all the way across the warehouse. And it's a huge warehouse, right? It's a Amazon warehouse. So they have to step off their machine, walk, or not even step off their machine. A lot of these guys are on their feet for 10 hours.
Sure.
Like straight, because they walk to the break room, they get like 5 minutes because it took them so long to walk to the break room, and then they just have to turn right back around and get back to their station. Because if they're not at their station working like 5 minutes before their break ends, they get in trouble.
Yeah. When I used to have my job, I worked, I think it was 8 hours a day, and I had like 3 breaks. But I wouldn't start my break until I got to the break room. I don't give a crap what they thought. I would start my break then, have my break, and then I'd start again when I got back. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Microsoft. I love Microsoft because it takes care of its people. Everyone. Right? Like, their custodians, their janitorial staff get a 401k for working there. Like, they get good benefits. 401k in the United States is retirement.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
They put money, Microsoft puts money towards retirement for all of their employees. Every
Oh,
single
wow.
one.
Alright.
Yeah.
Because Bill Gates knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, he's been in the business long enough to know how to take care of everyone so that everyone's happy. And because everyone's happy, the company's more productive. You know, like, I'm not saying that everyone's like legitimately happy. The janitorial guy might hate his job, you know?
Probably.
But at least he stays there for the benefits, you know? He stays there because the pay is good. He can take care of his family. Like, for me, when I eventually, you know, settle down and have a family, I don't care where I work. You know, I don't care if I'm working at Walmart. I don't care if I'm working at McDonald's or
Just
anywhere.
as long as you can make a comfortable living.
Exactly. As long as I can make ends meet and then some, so that I can treat my kids or myself or my wife in the future
Yeah.
to something. Because, like, when I was a kid, we barely went out. You know, we didn't have the money to. Like, I was a bowler in high school because I loved to bowl as a kid, but we couldn't afford to go bowling, right? So I joined the bowling team because I could go bowling every day for free. Like,
Yeah.
I know how
that
you,
was it for me.
I kind of know how you feel, Jeff. Like, me and my family, we barely travels around too much because, like, what, like here, you know, we've got a roof over our heads, we've got food, clothes, but I'm like my 4-person family, my mum, my 2 little half sisters, me. We're living in a fucking 2-bedroom town.
Yeah, and it's pretty like crammed.
My mum, she's making good money now off her tattooing job, but the same, you know, she hates it. Because her boss is a dick and shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
she just makes enough money for us, but you know, it gets really stressful. You know, it can get pretty.
Yeah, especially as a single mom.
Yeah.
Well, what really hurt, like going back on the topic of like mental health, what really hurts the millennial generation, the guys coming up, you know, me and my classmates that graduated with me in high school, is that we are being hammered on. You know, we're getting like seriously hit with, oh, you guys are so entitled. You're asking for this, this, and this. And we're like, no, we're asking for this because these are basic human rights. Because we can't live.
Yeah,
like,
especially with your parents being worked to death. The stress.
Like,
Mm.
I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm gonna bring a little bit of politics into this. But during the election, right, during the 2018 election,
Yeah.
and even during the 2008 election with Barack Obama, you know, socialism, the support for socialism went from 35% in the country to 57% during the time of the election, because these people, Barack Obama, who was a socialist back then, and Bernie Sanders, who ran in the 2018 election, were basically like, you people deserve to live, to work hard, to focus on your future. It's not like people living on a day-to-day, you know, like they're just like, I'll figure it out tomorrow, you know. They want to make it so that people can look months ahead, actually invest in something.
Yeah.
You know, because like, you go to college here, for a bachelor's degree in the United States, in New York State, I would have owed 60 to 80 grand at the end of my degree.
That's a lot of money. Especially in America.
Yeah, 60 to 80 grand for a 4-year degree, which is
That is. I mean, education like that it shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a right. Like I can understand them wanting money for it, but 60 to 80 grand for a bachelor's degree, which I understand is a basic.
And
not
what I
too
it's a
complicated.
piece of paper. It's a piece of paper
yeah,
that says you're
legit.
good.
Yeah.
A majority. Well, here's the
It's
thing: a
not
majority
going-
of the money is not going to your classes.
Yeah,
My classes, when I registered for my classes, I took 5 classes. They were $30 each. Those were my classes.
Yeah.
Everything else in my thing went towards food, living, and to make the campus look pretty. Because if you have a pretty campus, it doesn't
People wanna
matter
go
how
awesome.
high your graduation rate is. You're gonna go to that college because it looks good.
Yeah.
You know, I fell victim to that. Hardcore. My college's financial aid office was completely run by students. Up until, you know, the people that actually needed a f***ing degree. So I would go and be like, when I got there, you know, first week I moved in, everything was set, you know. My student loans were taken out, everything was set. I was good, you know.
Yeah.
Week later, hey, you owe 10 grand by the end of the semester. Oh,
Fun.
okay. I go to the financial aid office,
Yes.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about that. You're all good. Your paperwork's in. You're set for the semester." Oh, thank God. Right?
And then it sneaks back up on you, and they were wrong.
A month later, I was doing good in school. You know, I had B's, A, B's, and high C's in all my classes. I was in ROTC. I was enlisted in the United States military at the time. I was getting ready for basic training. And then I get an email. Your payment is overdue. Oh,
Wow.
okay.
That's so.
I go to the school. They're basically, they're like, no, you're good. You don't have to pay that until the end of the semester. All right, I believe you guys. I go home. And a week later, you don't pay your bill, you're gonna be uneligible for re-registration for the spring semester. All right. During this entire time, I'm sending emails to people, I'm calling people, I'm skipping classes so my grades are going down. Right? Because of their financial aid office being so inefficient and so shitty, I dropped out of college because my grades were so trash, and now I owe money. And then I went off to the Army, and then I got kicked out of the Army for medical reasons. But, like, the system here is systematically built to to not let, like, if you don't have a degree in this country,
You're
That's what I
and
hate.
even if you do have a degree, your degree might be like say I got a degree in something practical that I'll use my degree that I went through. I went to college for journalism. You know, I was going to be a political journalist, and then work my way into political office. That was my goal. I was a huge politics guy because of the 2016 election. 2018 election. 2017, 2018 election, you know? Because of Bernie Sanders. I was a huge Bernie Sanders guy coming up. In my last year of high school, you know, when the campaign started, moving up all the way to election day, all that. I was a huge Bernie Sanders guy. And then, like, a journalism degree is practical, you know? I can go work for a local newspaper. I can write for a magazine. I can write for a big news station, you know?
Well, yeah,
I can do this, and this. I can do a lot of stuff. I can be an independent journalist, you know?
Yeah, and
There's a lot of stuff
eventually
I
that
can
would
do.
go on to the media, and then you get a whole new path of that kind of stuff.
Exactly. There's a rabbit hole, you know? If
There's
you go,
opportunity.
exactly. But if you have a music degree, right? Like, I'm not bashing on people that have music degrees, but the music business is very selective. You know, you can't just say, hey, I have a music degree and instantly come, you know, get into an orchestra. Or you could become a professor for, like, music history, which I wouldn't mind, personally. I was a band kid my entire life. From grade 3 all the way up to my last year of school, I played in band. But, like, if you have a degree in that, like, what are you gonna do with it? You know? Like, a lot of employment, like, a lot of companies will usually go, oh, you have a degree, that's really good, and your application will move up, you know? Because you do have a degree, you have education. You show that you have a good work ethic. But the issue is trade jobs. People that don't have a college education, like me. I'm what you would call an unskilled worker in this country because I don't have a degree. I have an advanced regents diploma, which is the second to highest diploma I could get out of high school. The only next highest is with honors. You know, I had to have A's in all my classes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I'm a smart kid, you know? I know what I'm doing. It's just that because I don't have a college degree, my job choices are heavily limited. And even then, I don't have a skill in, like, carpentry or welding or plumbing.
I do.
You know, so what can I do?
just
That's
points
the
it out.
thing. The people that don't have those skills, you know, that to do that, what do they do?
Well, yeah, and another
know?
thing is, like, when you go to university or Polytech, it's called Polytech in New Zealand, but yeah, college pretty much for you guys, and then you go get these, like, degrees or whatever, but that doesn't guarantee you a job. Like, I have 2 certificates in different things. I have a certificate in communications and media and building construction, which I can then use to go to another course to go up on the scale of building, and then, yeah. But that doesn't guarantee you shit. Like, you can do whatever the hell you want with that and try, but realistically, I think it's dumb. You have to be so good, but then you can only bring so much to the table.
Right. Like, the thing is, in this country, the minimum wage was made, literally, if you look in the history books for the United States, it says that minimum wage was made so that a single human being can work a minimum wage job and pay all of his bills and make ends meet, you know, for like the necessities, for health insurance, car insurance, a home, food,
I
And
hate
with the new
insurance.
stuff,
Insurance
with the
is
new stuff
trash.
that's coming out, like cell phone bills and all that, you know,
Yeah.
and utilities. That's what minimum wage was made for. It was made so that people could make ends meet. Now people treat it as it's a starter job. You know? I think that's bullshit. My mom's working a job where she require, like, I believe, I might be wrong, it requires an associate's degree. And she's making minimum wage.
That's sad.
I work in food nutrition services. I make food for patients in the hospital. Right? We put the food on trays, we put the trays in a cart, and the carts go up to the floors and the people are fed, right? I make more hourly than my mother. Think of that.
It's so dumb.
I made
Wow.
more, when I had a job, I made more money, I think like a couple dollars extra than my brother did on his job, and he's like 2 years older than me, and he works way
Right.
more hours than I do, but we were still pretty, like, you know, it's pretty retarded.
Right? Like, it's... My mom works with people's private information every day. Social security numbers, birth dates, you know, whole family
That's
trees,
the kind of thing.
allergies, prescriptions. Why isn't she making more money? You know, because you can easily have one person that doesn't like their job, that's not getting paid enough, and bang, oh, they just stole someone's identity. Oops, just gave them the wrong prescription. They could f over so many people. So why pay them minimum wage? But me, the only thing I have to worry about is who's allergic to who.
Yeah.
You know? And even then, we wear gloves. So whenever we see an allergy, all we gotta do is change the gloves. That's it. And I'm making $11.75 an hour.
Are you working more or less hours than your mom?
I work less hours. I work part-time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, I'm trying. I like to go full-time because then I can get out of here faster, but I'm already planning on moving out of state anyway with my girlfriend, so. But, like, it's weird because the standard of living changes, you know? So you could go to New York and talk to one person who works at McDonald's, and they'll be like, I can't make ends meet. I have a shitty car that's already paid off, so he doesn't even have to pay for his car, just the insurance. He's like, I work a one-bedroom apartment that's $600 a month. I have groceries, I have a cell phone bill, I have a car payment, and I have health insurance. All in all, he's taking away $5 in, like, quote-unquote, spending money. Or investing money.
$600
from his
in New
paycheck.
Zealand wouldn't even pay rent for, like, I mean, it would pay rent and food, but, like, you wouldn't be able to pay to keep yourself alive for, like, a week in New Zealand.
But, like, if you go to Kentucky, which has a lower standard of living, the same guy working the same job could be doing very well for himself. You know? He's got a 2-bedroom apartment. That's only $400 a month. That's the same quality, right? We're not going to go into the technicalities of different qualities of how. So same quality of apartment, but a bigger one for $400 a month. Better car, less car insurance payment. You know, same phone bill, lower health insurance. Because the quality of living is lower. But it's one of those things where the quality of living is so high is because there's a lot of rich people living in the state. Like in Hollywood. Like in California, you have all the celebrities and all that. And because of that, the standard of living is very high.
Yeah, they
But you
kind of
don't-
just inflate the area just by default by them being there.
Exactly. Them being there, and like, it's not their fault. It's the system's fault. It's like, oh, we get a lot of tax income coming from this specific area of the city. Because there are a few celebrities living there. They don't realize that there are thousands of other people that are normal human beings that live there. So their rent might have been $300 one week. Oh, but this tax season we had an influx of taxes because 15 celebrities moved in. Your rent just doubled. Just because they're there. Because the standard of living went up. Now you're
It's-
expected to renovate your apartment,
That's
get a better
Pretty
car,
fucked.
That's fucking disgusting.
and working the
It's
same.
fucked.
Yeah, you're working the same job,
Fucking
and you're expected to afford all that. It's not the government looking out to help you. It's them telling you conform or get out.
Far out.
That's why you see. That's why you see a lot of That's why you see a lot of poor places in big cities.
Mm.
Why there's a lot of slums and shit.
Yeah, a lot of slums. Not necessarily slums, but a lot of ghettos. Like Detroit's a perfect example. Detroit was a rich city, and then
Yeah.
it fell apart because it got too rich.
Yeah.
You know,
And
the
that-
only city that I would say doesn't fall under the lines is Las Vegas. Because it makes a shit ton of money into casinos and resorts and all that. But Nevada is smart and taxes the fuck out of them. So now, that money, that taxable income, goes back to the state of Nevada and not in people's pockets. So it's not income tax, you know?
Mm.
It's state taxes, which is weird. A lot of people that aren't from the United States don't realize that, but the standard of living is based off income tax, not state tax. So like,
Yeah.
the government will be like, oh, like we had a lot, like on Hollywood Boulevard, you know, where a lot of celebrities had like, oh, X amount of dollars in income tax, time to bump shit up because people are making more money.
Mm.
When that's not the case. It's a few new people with shit tons of money moved in, and because of that, everyone else is expected to make more money.
Mm.
While state tax, which is where Nevada comes in, they lowered the income tax and raised the state tax for certain people living above or making above X amount of dollars, right?
Mm.
So it's an exponential growth for taxes, right? If you're poor, you're gonna be paying less in taxes. If you're rich, you're gonna be paying a shit ton of taxes,
Mm.
which is how
Yeah.
it should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not, because that's communism in America, apparently. You could sit someone down and be like, so, you want to live a good life, right? Yeah. Okay, so you want to pay less taxes? Yeah. Okay. Then where are you going to get the money to pay for this? Oh, like, and then it becomes a thing where it's like, you pay
Yeah.
less taxes, but then at the same time, because you're paying less taxes, your standard of living is going to go down.
Isn't it
Mm.
like
Because
the
the money-
poor get poorer and the rich get richer? Isn't that what like the
Exactly.
concept? Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Because what they do is they lower the tax rate for the poor, and then they lower the tax rate for the rich.
Hmm.
So the poor are, yes, they get a bigger tax refund and tax season. You know, the government pays them more money, but it's not constant. You know? So like, yeah, we paid less taxes, but at the same time, now your boss is making more money to get more stuff to up the business. Now production's got to go up.
Mm. I feel like in New Zealand,
But your wage isn't going to be raised.
in New Zealand, what I think is the case is the rich pay more than the poor, and then a lot of money, because there's a lot of poor people that take money from the government or whatever, wins or what. I don't understand political stuff in New Zealand
Yeah.
fully, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. Like the rich people give money, and then poor people get part of that money.
Mm.
It's how the world should be.
Mm.
You know, people helping people whether they like it or fucking not.
Mm, yeah.
You know, because all of us have to live.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not like no human being should just have to survive. You know, and it's really shitty to say survive as in like, hey, oh, is my Galaxy S8 being paid for? You know, like survive as in,
Am I
you
gonna
know,
get a
I don't
roof
have a cell
overhead?
phone. Yeah, it's like survive as in I don't have a cell phone because I can't afford it. I can barely afford on my apartment. Am I gonna go out to eat because it's cheaper, or can I actually afford to get groceries this time?
What I hate is like, oh goddamn! I legit just had this thought, so it's like, God damn it. No, I'll come back to it. I feel legit.
Yeah, I mean,
What is it?
America's
What is it to do
fucked.
with?
Money or something rather. I'll remember it eventually. Oh yeah, so thing I hate about like the way money works and like governments work is throughout life we have to go get jobs, to go get money, to pay to keep ourselves alive. So you're basically going through life paying and doing all this effort to keep yourself alive, to live this happy life. And then once you die, it's like, well done, you just won the game of life. You enslaved yourself to the world to gain money, to pay back, to stay alive. Which is a theory I've like heavily like thought about, but I know how the world works like realistically. I'm gonna add Jared to the call because he's trying to get into the podcast. He was supposed to be here earlier.
But he left.
Alright, hi
I mean,
Jared.
Hey, Jared.
For me, it's one of those things where, like, I would work the most shitty job in the entire world if that meant a better future for my kids. You know, because at the end of the day, the way I see it is I'm working hard so that other people in my life don't have to. You know, so I can give them a better life. But I can't do that when I can't take care of myself.
Pretty much.
Because the government and business in the United States is one and the same. If you're rich, you get what you want in our government. But that's changing at the same time. And this election cycle proved it. Because in my state, the 14th congressional district elected a woman who has never held political office, never held a mayorship, never held like a sheriff position here. She was elected as a representative in Congress. She skipped state level government and local level government. She went right to fucking Congress, the federal government.
Damn.
Because she basically is like, I don't care who you are. I don't care what your religion, your sex, your gender, your creed. I don't care. You're human. You deserve to live.
Damn.
That was her platform.
How many
You're human,
years
you deserve
does
to live.
the presidential thing go for? Because like Donald Trump will be the president of America for like the next.
Donald Trump will be the president until 2020.
Okay.
And then you'll probably get voted out.
And then he will either get voted out.
Wasn't the Republicans or whatever Hillary Clinton was in, wasn't that rigged so that she would get it?
Yes. So the way the United States works is we have presidential primaries, right? So we have multiple candidates of the same party running for their spot, the presidential candidate spot. So that's why you had people like Ted Cruz, Ben Carson, Donald Trump, all on the same side fighting each other because they wanted to be the Republican candidate.
Yeah.
The Republicans had it right because they just had delegates, which it's like the Electoral College here, but on a larger scale. You know, the amount of votes come in, they earn a certain amount of votes, a certain amount of delegates for one candidate. So like if Donald Trump, if it was just Donald Trump and Ted Cruz in Texas, and Donald Trump runs, and there were 100 delegates, Donald Trump got 75% and Ted Cruz got 25. 75 of the delegates would be pledged and made to pledge to Donald Trump, and the rest would be made to pledge to Ted Cruz.
Oh yeah.
The Democratic Party had super delegates, which were rich people or people who held political office, either formerly or currently, that would be voted, assigned to a candidate, but if they didn't like the candidate, they could flip them off and go vote for another one. So what you would see is in a state like, and I remember it perfectly, Iowa, right? It was early August, and the Iowa primary happened. Bernie Sanders won with 77% of the vote. But Hillary Clinton got twice the amount of delegates. Twice. And she lost. with 30% of the vote. Which is why a lot of the Bernie people voted for Donald Trump. Which was it, and it happens a lot, you know? When their guy isn't voted in, they'll vote for the other guy. Because fuck the guy that was voted up. Because Hillary Clinton is a capitalist, money-grabbing moron who doesn't know what she's doing.
Oh, yeah?
Didn't represent the people at all. I personally believe Donald Trump doesn't either.
Yeah.
When it was going on in New Zealand, we were getting like half the story. Like, we were getting the things that the New Zealand media thought that was okay for us to understand and know, but they weren't going to tell us some stuff, because then, we're going to be shook and be like, Donald Trump's a terrible person. And in New Zealand, we all thought, like, lots of people were towards, the woman, I forgot her name.
Hillary.
Yeah, Hillary, yeah. Because we didn't know much about her, all we were told is about how bad
What
Donald
you
was.
saw after this election was a movement. Well, because of Bernie Sanders, right? Because
I thought...
Go ahead.
I thought that Hillary Clinton wouldn't look like Afghanistan or something, or something to do with the Middle East.
Benghazi.
That
was the big thing. That was the big thing.
What was the Benghazi thing?
Benghazi was a group of, it was a no-fly zone. And a military operation was occurring through there, and she was the head of it. They were ambushed. You know, they called for help, and Hillary ignored them, and they all died.
Fuck. That's fucked up.
So that was the big thing on the Republican side, was she let American citizens die. You know, and that's why Trump won. That's the big thing. Why American service members died, because she didn't want to give them support.
What an idiot, honestly.
Yeah.
But what you saw was
military power just
what
goes
you
away.
saw was a lot of people stepped away from the Democratic Party because they knew it was capitalist, right? You saw a lot of people that were like me, like, we deserve to fucking live, dude. So like all the protests that you might have seen like after the election with all that, those were all young people. You know, we had a higher young people turnout in any election since 1996. Because an old man from Vermont went all over the country not talking shit about one person. Never, like, I went to a rally, right? I went to a political rally where he came and talked to people and basically explained, hey, this is why you should vote for me. I was not legally allowed to vote. I went because I was very, like, I heard of him. I was very interested in what he had to say. You know, I was just one of those people where, like, I'm not going to pick a side yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go listen to what you want to say. Because I already listened to Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton's argument.
Yeah.
So I went, and this guy never talked about himself and what he would do. He never mentioned what I will do as president. Once. Not once. He's like, what you will help me do. Or what we will do. If and when he was elected president, is basically what he was saying. He's like, I don't care about party lines, because Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. Okay, so you have the two. This is the key thing about the American government. You have technically four major political parties, right? But then you got the two big ones. So you got the two major and the two minor. You have the Republicans and Democrats. Then you have the Green Party and the Libertarian Party. Okay. If you are not a member of any of those parties, you are an independent. Bernie Sanders is the only independent in the United States Senate.
Yeah.
So there's 50 Republicans, 49 Democrats, and 1 independent. Bernie Sanders only ran as a Democrat in the election because if he ran as an independent, he would never win. He had to have economic support from the Democrats, but he didn't need it. because when he started his campaign, there were so many donations coming in. He funded his campaign just off of donations, millions of dollars. It's called a grassroots revolution, you know, because in my state, New York State, it's a very liberal state. It's a very democratic state. But what a lot of people don't realize is not everyone in the state is a fucking Democrat.
Yeah.
All of the rural areas voted Republican in the general election. But in the primaries, they all voted for Bernie. All of them. But the big cities, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and New York, voted for Hillary, and that's why Hillary won New York State.
Yeah.
But it was a grassroots revolution. You know, working class people, steel workers, farmers, contractors were like, yeah, my life sucks. And I want to live a better one.
Yeah.
So they went for the guy that's like, don't you think that you work hard enough that you shouldn't have to worry about your next hospital bill in case you get hurt at work?
True, yeah.
Like, it's common sense, you know? You shouldn't have to worry about it if you get hurt. You should just be able to go to a hospital, have doctors look at you, and help you.
Yeah.
As a human being. And I know I'm ranting about, but I'm very passionate about helping people who aren't from the United States understand that, yeah, we brag a lot, that we're the fucking best.
I mean, yeah, you guys are like the king country. Like, there's a
And,
lot
like,
of English-speaking countries that are influenced by America. It's like,
And I'm
the
not gonna tell you wrong. Like, America is the. I love this country, but this country's like, it's like everywhere else. It's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But it's only so major because we're so big, you know.
Yeah.
But like, just pick like. A lot of people don't understand. Like, why do you always fight all the time? It's like, because we're always trying to make things better, my guy. Like, but then one event happens, like one tragic event. Like, I'm gonna use 9/11 as a perfect example, because before 9/11, the Senate was fighting. The Senate and the government was on mere shutdown. You know, no federal employee was about to get paid, and then terrorists hit New York City.
Yeah.
And then you know what fucking happened? In 100-0 vote, we're gonna go bomb those guys. Because fuck them, we're America. You don't fucking touch us.
This is Wakanda, but this is America.
Yeah, it was like, it didn't matter what you were. It didn't matter if you were a Democrat, Republican, Islamic, Jewish, Christian. If you loved your country, you flew an American flag and you were like, yeah, that cave over there, it's full of terrorists, bomb it. And like, it was the same thing, like with the Paris attacks, you know? The Paris attacks were going on during the election, and they fucking pulled a hardcore America. Not even 12 hours after the Paris attacks, they had bombed an airfield that was responsible for the attack. They bombed the fuck out of it. Yeah, I remember the night that it happened, and I woke up and I went to school, right? And my first period class, my first class of the day was band. And
wow.
Me and my band teacher were really into politics. You know, she was a Democrat and I was a Democrat, so we like to look at the news. And I go in and I look on her computer, because she's also looking on. So I peer over her shoulder and I see ISIS air base bombed by France in retaliation to France attacks. Happened at 2 a.m. after the Paris attacks. So I just looked at the screen and I was like, so you mean to tell me that France found the place, destroyed the place, and then we're like, yeah, fuck you guys, you ain't gonna break us, in literally 8 hours?
Yeah, that's pretty,
That's fucking cool.
Like, that's the most American thing I've ever seen, and that came from France.
Yeet.
which you would generally expect to be classy. Like England,
Right.
sort of.
But they were very, like, the president, the president of France, prime minister of France, I don't fucking know much about France's government, but it is president. President Macron came on, he was all snarky about it. Like, he would look very professional and very stern, but you could just tell in like the way the sentences rolled that he's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeet.
He's like, don't touch my country again.
Mm.
And like, it would happen in any country. Like if some foreign event that fucked over New Zealand, you know, and a lot of people died, and it was because of foreign retaliation, you bet your ass your country's gonna band together and do something about it.
Oh yeah,
aren't you?
New Zealand's a bunch of pussies. We get our big brother Australia, and then
Yeah.
we band
yeah.
together and we're like, oh yeah, America, let's go, and then we'll just chuck our people into your army, and then boom, sweet
New Zealand and
as.
Australia, for us, Australia is basically our fucking our irresponsible
Uncle, yep.
that we
Pretty
fucking-
much.
we look up to, but which is a bad thing because it's fucking irresponsible and drinks too much.
But
Fuck.
just imagine the amount of patriotism that comes out of it, though.
Hmm.
Like, you guys can't wait to go get them. You know, it don't matter who you have to go. It don't matter.
I'm
if
pretty
you have
sure
to go to
during
Australia.
just to go on a rant here, pretty sure in World War II, like New Zealand was one of the first countries to like declare war against Germany or something.
Yeah, you guys declared war with Great Britain. So like,
Yeah, 'cause
I
we,
think
like-
it was. I think it was a day after Great Britain declared. You and Australia were like literally the next ones. You were like, yeah, let's go get them. Let's kill us some Nazis.
I mean, just think of the Gallipoli campaign. That's basically New
Mm.
Zealand and Australia in a nutshell.
Well, yeah, because all the Māoris were like eager to go to war, and then they
Yeah.
hooked up with their good old cousins from Australia. They pulled out the bearsies and they headed over to Germany and
Yeah,
and had a good old
Like-
time.
eager as fuck to get some travel and some miles and shit. And then you just get like, cause like I did a creative writing. We had to do a like kind of letter like story.
Mm.
And reading some of the like letters and shit, like these people like wanted to go, but then like once they got there, it was hell.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
Because of how
that was
bad the
that was
conditions
the-
were.
There was like
That was the same
slums
thing
that
with the
you
United
go through, like,
States.
the-
No, like, they had,
it
like,
was the same way with
trenches.
it
Oh,
was
the
the same way
trenches,
with
that's
the
the
United
word, yeah.
States.
It's the same as the Western Front.
Yeah, it was the same as literally everywhere. Everyone was so eager to go to war, but as soon as the shooting started, they were like, I don't want to be here anymore.
But they had to be there. They had to because they couldn't leave. They were stuck
Yeah.
there.
And I mean, like with World War II, for an example, like everyone, like it was literally that's the defining moment on humanitarianism versus, you know, fascism.
Mm.
You know, you had America, France, Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all those people basically banding together. Like, I'm not going to say that the United States was fully responsible for the invasion of Normandy. I will admit that the United States was responsible for the spearhead through it, but I do know that there were British, there were French, there were Canadians. I think there were some Australian and New Zealanders that stormed Normandy. I don't know. But I definitely know for a fact that Britain, Canada, and France were one of them. Were three of them. But like that time, or like if you go to the Pacific Front, when it was, you know, basically just America versus Japan, Iwo Jima, you know, the island where it's such hardcore fighting, but then you see a fucking American flag on the top of the mountain. You know, if you're the enemy at that point and you see your enemy's flag being raised on that flag, you know you lost. But it, like, you look at it and you see, like, there's such pride in that like, yeah, you know, my country, best country, and then we drop 2 atomic bombs on them, and then
And that basically
there
ends
she
it.
goes.
Bro, fucking in World War II, America basically just f***ed Japan.
Like,
well,
even
here's the
after Germany gave up, like, they pretty much waved their white flag and shit. They like, I surrender because, like, Berlin got taken, right? Then you just got America like, yeah, we got to finish this with a bang. So they just dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan.
The reason was the Japanese culture back then was you never surrender. You surrender or die.
Yeah, but
So they
and then,
knew
like, because they had like an emperor and shit. They were the imperial,
Exactly.
like, they were imperial and shit.
If you ran away from battle, like, it didn't matter if they lost an island. They fought until everyone on that island was dead.
yeah, that's why Japanese are so terrifying. These gods, I don't surrender. They stabbed a Anna.
Yeah, and it's the same way with like basically all of Eastern Asia. Like that's why Vietnam was so hard. They never gave up.
Yeah.
Literally ever.
And America
fought
waited
until
a
they
bit
died.
too long. Shit.
But back to the Japan thing, like they wouldn't surrender is the thing. We told them, hey, it's over. You know, you can give up. And they were like, no, fuck you. But I don't remember who the general was in charge. I think it was Eisenhower.
I don't think I
Was in
remember
charge
either.
of the Eastern Front. He was going to invade Japan. He was going to put boots on the ground and do another Normandy. But then he was like, nah, that's a stupid idea. We're going to lose way too many people on both sides. So then the government came up and were like, hey, we have these two bombs that will basically scare the Japanese into surrendering. Like
And how
they
do
didn't.
well.
I mean, they surrendered afterwards. So I mean, yeah, it
they
worked.
basically established themselves as the one main superpower, but then, you know, got Soviet Union, who was also, like, pretty big as a superpower.
Right. Well, I mean, the United States, we didn't want to nuke them. You know, we didn't want to do it. We only did it because if we invaded them, the war would probably have lasted until the 60s. Because
It would
of
have.
how intense the Japanese were fighting. And then they would have brought the Chinese into it. And then next thing you know, you got World War III right after World War II ended.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So you just
So it
drop a
was
couple
lucky to-
nukes on them. It was a necessary evil that needed to be done to stop another bigger evil from happening.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was like some kind of military base. It was on civilian populations.
That was the point.
Yeah, it was
Like that was the full
it
reason.
was the scare factor.
Yes, because
and the raw
if
power
we
of
dropped
the
it on a
bomb.
military, if we dropped it on a military base, the Japanese would just be like, "All right, cool. You do realize we have more recruitable population right here, right?"
But
Like
with the-
they didn't care. They didn't care was the issue.
But with civilians, that's culture and everything.
Mm-hmm. That was
Yeah.
exactly the point.
Mm.
You drop it on civilians, you hurt. You know, you're. It's not like you're hurting their honor. You know, you
Not-
struck
not
Japan
their
at its
army.
heart. Yeah, the
You're
army.
hurting their people.
Yeah, you're hurting their pride. You're hurting what makes Japan Japan.
Yeah.
And because of that, the emperor was like, "All right, let's not go that far."
Yeah,
Because
and they were
Japan-
forgot. And the
It was in
Japan's
the-
emperor was forced to like do like a photo or something to prove he wasn't like this high and mighty god.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite funny.
The reason, well, like with Japan, it was weird because like they're tough. You know, you gotta hand it to them. They were tough. They wouldn't have given up. But you know, the necessary evil to stop another big evil, fucking. Their emperor was just, I don't know. Like at the end of the war, when Japan signed the peace agreement and officially ended World War II, it would like, and then they had to do all the like. Japan doesn't have a military today. They don't. They hate it. Us ending World War II, us nuking them, made them a disarmed nation. They hate war.
Yeah.
They have a police force, obviously,
That's obvious.
But-
Every country needs that. Like,
Yeah, sure.
but they hate war. They feel ashamed, is the thing. We shamed them. We are the only country to have shamed Japan
pretty much.
because we beat them at their own game.
Prank.
Well, no, because it was a surprise
Yeah.
attack. They started
Yeah.
it with a surprise attack. We
Well,
ended it with a surprise attack.
Pearl Harbor, they bombed it, didn't they? And
Exactly.
that's what brought America into the war.
That's
Yeah.
what brought America into the war. They hit us on our own soil.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Japan didn't really care about losing on foreign soil. Iwo Jima and in China and Korea. They cared about losing on their own soil. because that's Japan. So we gave them a taste of their own medicine, not because we wanted to, but we had to. And because of that, they still apologized to the United States for bombing Pearl Harbor. And they've never asked for an apology from nuking them, even though we've given it to them. You know, Obama went over there and did this whole big thing. There was like, hey, sorry for nuking you.
Like, in history, like.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. It's one of those things where if something happens to your country, your home, it doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna do something about it. Whether you enlist in the armed forces or you're, you know, donating blood
or you're
or
doing
all that,
the
like
doctor, because there's doctors and dentists and stuff that do the yeah.
Like what?
Well, yeah, for the troops,
Yeah, medics and stuff.
Yeah.
Medics and stuff, yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this is a good point to end off the podcast because we have been going for like.
We've literally just been
I think
rambling
we've
on about
kept
random as fuck
over
shit.
an hour. Because I don't remember exactly when we started at 2. But
Yeah, it was around 2.
big thank you to Kronos for coming onto the podcast. This conversation is brought so much light because I didn't know anything really about politics or
I had some
war.
idea, but not a lot.
Yeah. And I mean, I've learnt a lot.
yeah, man.
And it's made a good conversation. So thanks for coming on. Would love to have you back.
Of course, I'd love to be back on again anytime.
Alright, so once again, link in the description to everything that he runs and he's been doing. Go head over and check out their SoundCloud, their podcasts. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast, and have a nice day. Right. Sick as.
Sweet.
I lost my train of thought at the end. I'm like, wait, how the fuck do I end these again?
Yeah, just slips this in at the end just to keep it like extra awkward.
Yeah.